Arsenal 0, Newcastle 2. The Magpies take the advantage into the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final, and what a way to do it. Jeez, what a game. That was the worst display of finishing I think anybody has seen this season. I think statistically, it definitely is the worst display of finishing that anyone's seen this season from a Premier League club in any competition, because thanks to the good people at Opta, they put up a nice little stat last night to show that Arsenal's XG of 3.1 is the highest recorded XG by a team that hasn't scored a goal in any competition by any Premier League team so far since the year 2020. So, Arteta, you can add that one to your list of achievements. I'm going to be very salty in this episode. And yes, there's no intro either. I'm just getting down to business because somebody has to for this club, apparently. It was a game that I was nervous about going into in the first place. If you saw the prediction episode, obviously I did predict an Arsenal win because I felt that we had enough about us. And to be honest, the stats in the game, the other stats aside from the XG, show that Arsenal did have a pretty decent performance. You know, we dominated the possession, passes, pass completion, pass accuracy, attempts at goal, shots on target. Just decided to not do those. We had 23 attempts at goal, 3 of them only being on target. And to make matters worse, Newcastle scored their first goal with their first attempt at goal through Alexander Isak. And while he did have some good fortune to actually get the ball at that time, it just shows you the difference a clinical striker makes when they can take those chances, the ones that come out of nowhere, the half chances, turn them into points. And it's not the first time that we've been on the receiving end of a team scoring with their first attack on goal. We saw it not too long ago against Fulham, and we saw a poor display of defending against Fulham as well, much like we did last night. I'm just so frustrated, seriously. You know, the season itself seems like it's getting away from us in all competitions at this point. We're still second in the Premier League, of course, but we are just ahead of a Nottingham Forest side that's currently racked up the longest winning streak of any Premier League side for the season so far, with 7 wins, I think 6 or 7 wins. Either way, not exactly the team that you want to be just ahead of. And we've had opportunities to extend that gap. We've had opportunities to close the gap to Liverpool. And what's constantly been letting us down is our finishing. And, you know, it's all good and well to have Bukayo Saka scoring goals whenever he's available, but he isn't available right now, and we are absolutely being punished for it. It shows a complete lack of planning from Arteta, and I guess by extension, you know, the higher ups, the entire team upstairs. The last transfer window before this season, everyone was crying out that we needed a striker. I'll be fair, I was one of the people that was saying that we didn't really, considering how many goals we scored last season. So I guess I'm a bit guilty of being naive as well. But then again, that's not my job, bro. It's not my job to figure these things out. It's not my job to read all these stats day in and day out. That's on the club, and I don't know what metrics they were seeing, and I don't know what they're seeing in training behind closed doors, but we need a finisher in this team, and we need a finisher that is not just Bukayo Saka. You know, we got lucky with Kai Havertz's form last season. He was on a hot streak. He seems to have forgotten where the goal is completely, as seen last night, where he had a golden opportunity to get a goal back for Arsenal, about 6 yards out from the goal. It was easier to score. It was easier to miss than it was to... No, you know what I'm trying to say. He should have put it away. This is where I can't understand how the club didn't think about this. You know, it's been going on for a very long time so far this season, especially, where we are missing opportunities to score. Like I said in the last episode, we got 7 draws so far. It's far too many draws. And the fact that they could approach the January window without, at least from what it seems like, without any intention of really going gung-ho for a striker, is just unacceptable, really. You know, this is a competition that Arteta needed to win. It's a competition the club needed to win. We were in a very good position having the first leg at home in the semi-final, and we absolutely just embarrassed ourselves. We could have honestly played another 90 minutes, and I don't think we would have scored a goal, whether it's from a set piece or from open play, especially not from open play. Yeah, it was not a good night, and I think it's kind of poetic that Alexander Isak had a hand in both goals, because it just goes to show you what a solid out-and-out striker can add to a team. Even when he's not scoring all the goals. You know, he had a brilliant game last night. Not that he had to do much, in all honesty. It was a stark contrast to what Arsenal have, you know, whether it's Gabriel Jesus up front, whether it's Kai Havertz up front. Something's got to change. someone has got to be brought in this transfer window. And if there's no one that comes in, bro, then I'm sorry, Mikel Arteta, you are absolutely setting yourself up for your own demise. The players that are in the team right now doesn't help. Martin Odegaard has been putting in stinker after stinker for a while. Kai Havertz as well. I think he's honestly gone from one of my favorite players in the team to one of our worst performers whenever he's in this team now. Leandro Trossard looks an absolute shadow of the player that was once a bit of a savior to the fans. I don't know if it's the players are just absolutely cooked at this point, but I think a lot of it is down to Mikel Arteta's playing style. He's not mixing it up at all. He's not trying to find any way to get the best out of these players, I think, effectively enough, because week in, week out, we're seeing the same things now, and it's all good and well that we've got this brilliant goal scoring record from corners and free kicks, but those aren't going to win your games. You need to score open play goals, and you need to score them regularly. It was especially disappointing last night to see that, our defense, which is something that I've become very used to being able to rely on wholeheartedly. Terrible defending. For that first goal especially, terrible defending. I don't understand what is happening to this team mentally. Is the absence of Bukayo Saka that much of a heartbreak for everybody? It's only been like 2 games without Saka. It's not like it's going to get any easier. He's out for a long while still. So, yeah, I think the board and Arteta have to act, and they have to act now. Obviously, they can't get anything done ahead of the Manchester United game in the FA Cup coming this weekend, but we could very well be out of 2 competitions in the space of a few days, which is going to be, I've said it before, it's unacceptable. If this happens, I genuinely don't see how Arteta is going to keep his job at the end of the season, especially if Homie keeps talking crazy in the press conferences. I mean, after the game, he was talking about the ball that was used in the Carabao Cup. Why? The ball had nothing to do with it. Newcastle had barely any opportunities in that game, and they managed to find the back of the net twice. So why are you talking about the ball? Even the Carabao Cup X handle or Twitter handle, yeah, we stick with Twitter. Even the Carabao Cup Twitter page got involved and reacted to Arteta, his comments on the ball. And very justified, bro. Like, why are you talking about the ball? The issue here is not the ball. The issue here is your lack of planning to have someone in this team who is a striker who can finish opportunities. We've got so much work to do if there's any intention of progressing to the final in this competition, because the second leg is at St. James Park. This is us playing a weakened Newcastle team. They didn't have Bruno Guimaraes. They didn't have Fabian Schär. They're going to have both those guys back in the team for the next leg. It's not going to be any easier than this was. And I'm not saying it's impossible. It's football. Anything can happen. But it's highly improbable, especially based on last night's display. And it's getting tougher to, take these good performances that don't yield wins. It's something that as Arsenal fans, for the longest time before Arteta came in, we wanted to see good performances. I think there was a time when people could accept, even if we lose, if we play well, then it's a sign of something. But considering all the highs that Arteta hit last season, and yes, there were a lot of highs despite the fact that there wasn't any trophy, we showed a lot more of what this team is capable of, and it looks like we've either plateaued or we are regressing very quickly with every single passing game. And the one factor that has been missing in this team so far is an out-and-out striker. All due respect to Gabriel Jesus, all due respect, but he played a lot of games at Man City out wide. All due respect to Kai Havertz, but Kai Havertz himself has said that he is not a striker. I think Arteta's got to get active in this window. Whoever it is that he's going to be working with, obviously in the absence of Edu, they're going to need to come up with a plan. Go and buy Chris Wood. Seriously, go and buy Chris Wood. Nottingham Forest are flying high this season. That man has scored a lot of important goals for them this season. Just go and buy the guy. I don't even care at this point who you buy. You could buy someone that I've never, ever heard of. But if he's a striker, I'm going to give him a chance, bro. I am willing to give him a chance. And speaking of being given chances, why is Raheem Sterling in this team? I cannot understand it. Last night you're trailing by 2 goals and you don't bring on your one attacking outlet from the bench that you've got. What was this dude brought in for? Maybe he wasn't fit. Maybe he was carrying some type of injury. Whatever the case, we've seen weeks before where he is fit and we need a goal and you still don't bring him on. So at this point, he's just taking up a lone spot on the team and he's just taking up a place in general. Maybe we shouldn't have let Emil Smith Rowe and Fabio Vieira leave in the same window. Maybe. It's decision making like this that, and again, I'll say it again. Once upon a time, I was fine with it. You know, when everything is all fine and dandy, you're not exactly going to look for these problems. But there were a lot of fans of Arsenal and rival fans who all called it. I wasn't on the bandwagon yet, but I very much am now. We need a striker. And we also need another wide option because Trossard and Martinelli still are not working. Trossard, last night, based on that game, I would not have him anywhere near the starting lineup anytime soon, bro. I don't care what you have to do to work around it. Just keep that man out of this team because he seems like he's much more of a liability than anything else right now. Do not have Kai Havertz in that penalty area of the opponents because what's the point? He's not going to find the back of the net. He's the most hot and cold, on and off player so far this season. And we don't have the patience for that anymore. You know, we are still very much in good positions in all competitions, aside from the fucking Carabao Cup. The FA Cup, we've got a chance. If the players don't pull their socks up, I think we're going to get punished again. We've beaten Man United once this season, but that was literally through set pieces. Outside of set pieces, we didn't have very many chances in that game. I highly doubt we're going to get that lucky again. And our defenders don't seem like they are as reliable as they once were. So I think it's weird to even talk about anything that works in our favor because what even does that mean anymore, bro? We are our own worst enemies. So I think the club need to pull their thumbs out of their you-know-what, and they need to get to work in bringing a new signing in. If Arteta is still going to deny the fact that this club absolutely need a striker, then I am very much headed towards that direction of he's not the right guy for the club. I don't want to go there. I don't even want to entertain the idea of going there because I am a big fan of Mikel Arteta's. I do appreciate a lot of what he's done for the club so far. But if Alexander Isak can put in a performance like that last night and that isn't enough to wake you up to realizing we need a striker in this team, then there's no help for you, brother. You know, respect to Miles Lewis-Kelly. I think he was our best player on the night for whatever it's worth. He's a young player, obviously left back, not an attacker. But I think this kid is showing everything that you want to see in an academy graduate making his first steps into the starting 11. And yeah, I think despite the performance itself, you know, this team look like they are running out of ideas. And Arteta is the man that needs to figure out new ways to get the best out of this team. And if he can't do that with this next run of games, like I said, it's not getting any easier. But he hasn't helped himself. The pressure is there now because of his lack of activity in the transfer window. The pressure is there now because of clubs that are on our asses in the Premier League. And the pressure is now on him to turn this 2-0 losing aggregate against Newcastle around in the second leg of the Carabao Cup. And as someone that has a lot of faith in this club and in its manager, I don't know how he's going to do it, and I don't see it happening. Who knows? Maybe I will feel differently closer to the game. Maybe something's going to happen in the transfer window ahead of that game, which you'd think will happen. But yeah, you just never know. You just never know. Tonight we got Liverpool versus Spurs. I'm hoping that Liverpool can put a smile on my face again by giving Spurs a bit of a hiding. Thank you guys for watching the show. Apologies for the somber demeanor, but it is what it is, bro. That was a hard watch last night. And I only wish we had Alexander Isak in this Arsenal team, bro. Oh, how different things could be. Thank you guys for watching the show. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you in the next one.